Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with a powerful principle: find the single, rich mine and dig deeply. This idea is about focusing your efforts where they matter most. We'll be exploring how to concentrate your forces, as highlighted in Law 23. Over the next few slides, we'll delve into strategies for identifying your key opportunities and making the most of them. So, let's get started and uncover how to maximize your impact by working smarter, not harder. Let's take a closer look at this principle. Conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. What does that really mean? It's about focusing your efforts where you have the greatest potential for impact. Instead of spreading yourself thin across many areas, you channel your energy into one or a few key areas that can bring the most results. Think of it like searching for a rich mine. You're better off dedicating your resources to find that one valuable spot rather than flitting from one shallow mine to another. The deeper, richer mine offers far more yield. This concept highlights the power of intensity over extensity. Concentrated effort, focused intensity, always defeats scattered, superficial efforts. When you direct your strength intentionally, you maximize your chances of success. And remember, this idea ties into the overall theme of strategic focus, using your resources wisely to achieve the greatest impact. It's about working smarter, not harder, by honing in on what truly matters. Let's talk about the power of singularity. Imagine concentrating your efforts, like turning a diffuse light into a laser beam. This focus gives you immense power to pierce through the opposition at a single, critical point. It's about depth of focus, which really beats trying to cover everything at once. When you spread your energy across multiple fronts, it becomes inefficient and easier for your opponents to defeat you. Remember, your resources, intelligence, and time are all finite, so being laser-focused allows you to use those assets most effectively. Think of it this way: a laser beam versus a floodlight. The laser concentrates energy in a narrow, intense point, making it far more effective for piercing through obstacles. In contrast, a floodlight spreads energy out broadly, wasting effort and losing impact. This concept is central to our overall theme. Success comes from singular focus. By honing in on that one critical point, you maximize your power and increase your chances of winning. Now, let's take a closer look at the Rothschilds and their unique approach. His power was centralized, meaning he kept control of the core operations himself. His 5 sons were strategically placed across Europe, each managing key regions. This created a vast network, an intelligence and lending system that actually surpassed the power of many kingdoms at the time. What's fascinating is that they didn't conquer land or territory like traditional armies. Instead, they conquered the flow of money across the continent. They understood early on that controlling finance meant controlling influence. While Napoleon and other rulers were busy chasing vast territories and expanding their borders, Mayer Amschel Rothschild focused entirely on finance and information networks. His emphasis was on building a financial empire, gathering intelligence, facilitating loans, and managing money flows, rather than fighting for land. This focus on finance, on information, really set them apart. It's a perfect example of how power can be wielded through control of resources that aren't physical, but are equally, if not more, powerful. And this approach ties into our overall theme, understanding how influence and control often come from strategic positioning and mastery over information, not just military might. Let's take a closer look at Napoleon Bonaparte's observance of military strategy. He was known for holding reserves, which means he would keep some of his forces back during the early stages of a battle. This allowed him to draw out the enemy's strength, making them overextend or become vulnerable. Then, at the critical moment, he would launch his entire concentrated force in a single, overwhelming attack. This approach often caught his opponents off guard and gave him the upper hand. Another key point is that Napoleon rarely split his forces. Instead, his genius was in identifying where the decisive battle point was, the spot where victory could be achieved most effectively. He would ensure that at this critical location, he had a local superiority of numbers, even if his overall army was smaller. This strategy aligns with the principles of l'art de la guerre, or the art of war, emphasizing the importance of timing, concentration, and choosing the right point of attack. It's a reminder that knowing where and when to fight can be more crucial than simply having the larger army overall. This concept ties into our overall theme of strategic mastery, how understanding these nuances can turn the tide of battle in your favor. Let's talk about the keys to power. First, a small, directed force is infinitely more powerful than a large, scattered one. It's about focus. When you concentrate your energy and effort in a specific direction, that's where the real power lies. And central to that is intensity. Intensity is the source of all power. It transforms effort into impact. Next, we need to maximize impact. The idea of spreading yourself thin across many tasks or initiatives is a fallacy. It might seem like being busy everywhere will give you an edge, but in reality, it leads to shallow results and drains your resources. Instead, go deep, focus on a few critical areas and make them truly count. And that brings us to avoiding extensivity. Whether in conflict or any venture, there's only one center of gravity, one pivotal point that, if captured or controlled, guarantees success. The key is to identify that point and direct all your energy there. That's how you gain the upper hand. So the main takeaway here is to identify your vital center, your most crucial point, and focus all your efforts there. That's where your power will be amplified and victory becomes much more achievable. As we can see here, the wide distribution of the Ming dynasty's forces had both advantages and significant drawbacks. Because their military resources were spread across such a vast territory, no single region had enough concentrated force to effectively crush a major internal threat, like a large peasant revolt. This meant that when these revolts arose, they could spread quickly and become difficult to control. Their extensive defenses, while impressive, ultimately contributed to their downfall. The effort required to defend every inch of the borders against multiple smaller threats drained resources and stretched their military thin. This highlights a key point about the Ming dynasty's later stages. Their strategy of spreading out defenses across a huge area made them vulnerable from within. They were constantly fighting multiple minor threats, which diverted attention and resources from more critical issues. In essence, this internal overextension played a significant role in weakening the dynasty, fitting into our overall theme of how overreach can lead to decline, even for powerful empires like the Ming. Where you find the richest soil, there build your foundations. This is about choosing the right environment for growth, whether it's a project, a relationship, or a new skill. The idea is to identify the areas that have the best potential for success and invest your time and energy there. It's about being strategic, knowing where the conditions are most favorable and planting your efforts there. By doing so, you're more likely to see strong, sustainable growth. Remember, just like in gardening, if you plant in poor soil, even the best seeds won't thrive. So, focus on building your foundations where the conditions are optimal for success. This ties back to the overall theme of making smart, intentional choices that set the stage for long-term achievement.